on? What's going on? Welcome to World Kidney News. I am your host, Steve Belcher. Thank you for joining. This is going to be a great show tonight. I'm telling you, share this broadcast. You're going to want to share this broadcast. I'm telling you. You're going to get some inspiration, some motivation, and a great story tonight. This kidney warrior, this gentleman, I tried to get him like last year. I'm talking about before COVID, last summer, more than 12 months ago. And unfortunately, he was in the hospital at that time. And since then, we just kind of lost touch. But tonight, we have him here. I'm talking about the CEO of IV.com. They make clothing like this. Let me show you. This kidney warrior, he didn't let kidney disease stop him from helping other people. They got designs like this. If you do dialysis and you want to have something comfortable on, you got the zippers here to have access. If you got an access in your left arm or your right arm, or you got a chest catheter, you have clothing that can get you access to that, to your access. Easy access instead of you trying to pull down your shirt, your t-shirt, or roll up your sleeve and wear it be tight. So tonight, we have them here. All the way from Salt Lake City, Utah. Let me give them the VIP introduction. Hey, Dax, what's going on?
You.
Hey, man, thanks for coming on World Kidney News. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. I'm glad I can finally get on the show.
Yeah, and I forgot to play something. I wanted to play something right quick to show the audience one of your hit advertisements. Let me. So, Dax, tell us, before we get into your story, what inspired you to do IV.com and deal with kidney disease at the same time?
Oh man, it's such
and you're a motivational
long
speaker.
Story. Yeah, well, I try to be. I try to be. I don't claim to be a professional at it, but I do my best to share my story and hopefully offer some inspiration and motivation to someone who may be in the same shoes that I was in or that I'm in right now. And I've had such a long road to get here today to where I feel comfortable in my own skin and comfortable talking about dialysis and all the issues that comes with that and that I've faced over the years. I was first diagnosed with kidney disease when I was 12 years old, and it was overnight. It was school, sports, and friends switched to hospitals, treatments, and doctors. And I really struggled for a long time. My whole life at that point was centered around playing sports, essentially. And as any young kid wants to do, they want to play in the major leagues or the NBA or the NFL, yeah, anything like that. And I was all about it. And just as I said, overnight, all that changed. And it really became difficult for me to find my place in the world. I felt somewhat different before just due to my nature, personality. But after my diagnosis, everything changed because none of my friends were going through the same thing. And I felt that I had to mature really quickly. And it was hard to make friendships because of that. And no one seemed to understand what I was going through. And I struggled, but I still stayed involved in my friends' lives and in school. I was the student body president my senior year. Just really, I loved giving back. I loved helping people, speaking to people. And I knew if there was anything I could do, that it would probably be that in some sort of way. But shortly after I graduated high school, I had to begin dialysis just when I was trying to begin college, try to find a major, try to find a new life path, a career, a partner, all that. And dialysis really made it impossible for me because I did not cope well when I first started dialysis. And my first week on treatment, actually, I saw someone code in the treatment room. His heart stopped right after
Wow.
treatment, and I realized how serious life had gotten all of a sudden, and there was no one there to explain what was happening, what was going to happen, how I would feel. Doctors did not make a big deal of it at all, not nearly what they should. My mind, this should have been given the same kind of compassion and empathy that a lot of cancer patients get,
Mm.
because it is that life changing. Um, and they always said that, you know, your life will get back to normal once you get a transplant. So we'll just get on the list, and that's what we just started waiting. And I was traveling 2.5 hours one way just to get treatment for dialysis at
Wow.
that time in my life,
Two and a half
just due
hours.
to where I lived. It was, yeah, just a really rural area here in Utah. I lived at home with my parents who have a cattle ranch, and I had to travel into the city, and it's 2.5 hours just to get treatment, and I'd drive back at night, and it
Mm.
was tiring, and I got
I'm
so
sure.
sick of it. But yeah,
Well, let me ask you
and
something right
one
quick.
morning, yeah,
I'm sorry. Did they have home dialysis at that time to cut down that travel time?
they did, and the option I had was peritoneal, obviously, and chemo. But for hemodialysis, which is what I preferred, just due to the less frequent treatments, having more freedom in my mind, just my preference. And we had to get a whole new water system if that's what we did.
Mm.
They didn't
Got
have
you.
the standalone water system that you can get now for a lot of machines. So it wasn't an option, and I didn't want a PD catheter. Just I thought it was too big of a risk for me, and so
Sure.
I chose to do hemo, and I chose to drive and all that, and I did that for 2.5 years, and then I finally got that phone call that all transplant patients just dream about, saying we have your kidney. And I was just, oh, heck yes. So I called my dialysis center. I'm like, I'm not coming into treatment today. They're like, oh, do you want to reschedule? And I was like, heck no, I'm not coming in ever again. I'm going to
Right.
get a transplant, and this is it. I was ready for my life to start. I knew that all the waiting and all the pain and torment that I'd been through was finally going to be, it was going to pay off. I was going to get a kidney, and everything was going to work. And everything was going really smoothly. I transplant. I was on huge levels of steroids, and I was taking laps around the surgical unit, just ready to go. If I didn't have a catheter in, I would have been out of there way sooner than the 3 days that I was in there for. But it was less than a month after this. I was sitting at home. I was getting ready to go back to college and start that process, and I got a phone call that nobody wants, saying that your disease has recurred in the new kidney and we have to start treatments again. And I was completely devastated. I felt that I let my donor down, my family down, everybody in my life. I felt like a utter failure, and it wasn't anything I could have done differently or couldn't have done. It just was. That was the card that was dealt at the time. And to cope with that immense high of adulation of getting this brand new life seemingly, and it's followed by just a crushing blow, was one of the hardest things that I've ever had to deal with. And I struggled a lot to get through that. Went through a lot of personal demons. I did things I definitely shouldn't have done and put myself in situations that I hope no one else does. And it's those experiences in my lowest that really helped me, that really helped motivate me for where I'm at now, because I know how hard it is to struggle and feel that no one is there, no one understands, and that no one is out there talking about the same things that you're going through. And we're at a time in our history right now where people are taking back the power that they deserve. And, you know, kidney patients are a section of the community that deserve more. Definitely. They deserve more funding, more research, and just more options, no matter where they are. And while there are just too few treatment options right now. And that's really one of the big reasons why I'm motivated to talk so freely about what I've been through, because it's important that we kind of unmask the stigma of all these things that people deal with on a daily basis and fight to make better. And not just in the healthcare community, but overall, anywhere we see evil being done or mistreatment being done. And all of that really kind of culminated for me, that those low points with the 2016 election. I found myself just fighting with people online, and I knew I didn't want that to be my life. I didn't want that negativity surrounding me.
Yeah.
And I made a commitment rather than that to be a part of the solution, be a part of the change that I wanted to see in the world. Excuse me. And that's how this all started. It was January 13th, 2017. I have the date memorized. It came to me all at once. I wrote it down on my whiteboard in my office. Where we'd sell clothes, we'd be a beacon of hope for anyone dealing with chronic illness. We would offer solutions and products that mattered, that people needed, and they'd be designed by an actual patient, someone in the community, not just looking in from the outside, which I thought was really important. I thought a lot of
Absolutely.
the businesses and I thought a lot of the businesses and companies that are presently out there were just in it to make a buck, because they saw a chance at a money-making opportunity, and that's not what this should be. It's a actual product to make someone's life easier, and what I'm interested in. It's the furthest thing from my mind. And if I could have, my goal was just to help one person, if that's all I could do, then so be it. It's worth it if you can just help one person, because that one person could have a cascade effect in the world. You never know just what saving one person can do. Just, one message of hope to a person on a certain day can mean everything, can be the whole world to someone. And I know what that feels like, and I want to be able to provide that to people who may not get it from their family or their friends and feel shut from the world because of their chronic illness or disability or whatever it may be, because
Right.
it can be isolating to deal with all these things. And we are at a time right now where people are being more vocal about the things they're experiencing, and I think it's time for this profound change, this positive change that will give people a better life. And I think that's wholly important, especially in the community where there are so few options presently.
Oh, absolutely, man. There needs to be more light shed on this disease. Now, do you have any of your products with you that if someone was interested?
Yeah, I've got my I've got my sweatshirt here, and it's really our most popular product. It has sleeve zippers as well as chest zippers. So you have a chest port or chest catheter, you can use
Oh
that
man, that looks
as well as get
comfortable.
your blood pressures taken. It's really really soft. It's the I would dare say probably the softest material on the market as far as clothing pieces like this go. And we searched a long time to find a fabric that was soft, and we wanted it to feel flexible so that you don't feel constricted and tight, because I
Hold
know
that
for
up some
me when
more.
I pull too much fluid, yeah, I know for me when I pull too much fluid, it and you get really sweaty and flush and you just need to cool down. We wanted to make that really easily to breathe, and so the zippers, they zip both ways, and it's a zip up hoodie. You can pull the hood down. Both sleeves
Oh
zip,
man, so you
so
could
you
put
can
the hood
have
on like
your
when you in the unit and your head is cold and the air blowing down, you can put that hood on.
yep, yep. And I wear mine with the hood on, and they pull down far enough you can shade eyes, so you can get the darkness that a lot of patients prefer to be able to sleep, just kind of zone out. Um, and then you can also just tuck the sleeves in and make them kind of sleeveless if you get too hot, which is how I wear it a lot in the summer.
Okay.
And then we also have sweatpants and t-shirts, and t-shirts have matching chest access. They're just short sleeve t-shirts, so they're more designed for hospital stays, overnight treatments like PD treatments. They also have side zippers right underneath the armpit down by the waist, and
Wow.
the sweatpants have zippers in both legs that run the entirety of the leg on both sides.
For leg
So it's
rest.
easy to access your femoral accesses, or if you like to have blood pressures taken on your calf, it's easy. Also, we found that it's really stretchy enough. You can just pull the whole leg up to wherever you need it and just leave it there, and it's not going to cut off circulation
Wow.
within reason.
Man, you thought of
So
everything.
yeah, I've been in those situations where you're undressed and cold and miserable. I've been in the pediatric units with the little kids who are just crying out because they're so cold, and they have
Mm.
such uncomfortable treatments and such uncomfortable access. It's not it's not fair to ask any child to dress like that or expose themselves, because they need to feel safe. They need to feel okay with who they are. They don't want to feel like a pincushion. And I wish I had that support. So I hope I can give that in any way I can. And that's a huge motivation for me, is the pain that I've seen and also experienced. So
Wow. Now, right now, you do home hemodialysis. That's the modality you're doing right now.
correct. Yep,
Mm-hmm.
I've been doing home hemo for just over a year now, and I was terrified of doing my own needles, which is why I hadn't even broached the subject before. But a nurse in my unit here that I was using really was patient. She helped me put a needle in the first time. She kind of guided my hand. And after that, it was like, oh, this isn't so bad. I can actually feel it and do it better than they can, because it's my body. I can understand a lot better because I feel more.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a very eye-opening experience for me, because that I knew if I could do that, the rest of it was just easy.
Mm-hmm.
And once I got that down, it was just a matter of learning the machine and learning where everything goes, the process of dialysis and what I need to do to make sure it's completely safe for me, and just keep up on everything. That's the hardest part, is keeping up with the maintenance and the cleaning. But it's so much easier to have that peace of mind knowing you're not exposed to a bunch of different people. I know when I went to different centers, the chairs weren't always the cleanest, the
Mm.
floors weren't always the cleanest, and I'm kind of a germaphobe, so that's something I always think about. And having that just more control essentially has been wonders for me, and getting a lot of control back was something I really enjoyed, because dialysis, a lot of people feel like it just takes everything from you.
Right.
So to have some choice given back was really refreshing.
Mm. Now, do you have someone with you in case if you encounter any problems?
I do sometimes, but for the most part, I do solo treatments. But I always, if I can, I try to do my treatments when someone is here at the home. But as far as hooking up and taking off, I can do that all by myself. Um, I've only had a couple times where I've needed immediate assistance, and that's thankfully been when someone's been home. Um, but really, the key is to just go slow and be very precise with everything you do. Think about it before you do it. Um, and it's hard because you can really get into a routine and just kind of off your mind when you've been doing it for so long. So it's hard to stay on point. Um, when you get kind of lax about it, that's when things happen. So I always try to have someone at home, but for the most part I can do it by myself, and I do know what needs to happen if I have an accident. So
Hmm. Now, when you do a lot of your videos, your motivational videos, when you're on the machine, now, do you have people, like something that you may talk about? Do you have people reach out to say that they're going through the same thing, or do you see a lot of people experience what you may experience at 12 years old, being diagnosed with kidney disease?
Yeah, I get a lot of messages. Surprisingly, I get a lot of messages from overseas of people trying to learn more about dialysis, and that's really cool to me. And I try to be really I'm invested in a lot of different kidney groups, so I try to kind of get the pulse of what everybody's thinking. Um, and if you'll go through and something will grab your attention, and you're like, oh, I should talk about that. That's something that I went through and I can relate with, and maybe I can offer an insight. And um, I've gotten some pushback from some people that don't really like my point of view, and that's perfectly okay. We all don't have to agree with each other, um,
Absolutely.
but yeah, I really try to gauge the community and see where they're at, because that's really all you can do. You can only start where people are at. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and having a social work background, which is what I went to college for, I think really helps me um, navigate that in a way that people like. And I hope I can get some answers across that they may not get elsewhere. But you know, a lot of this has turned into kind of like a journal almost, just talking about my feelings and my life. People relate to that, um, and I think it really helps to see someone who's going similar experience. I know I wish I had that as a younger child going through all of this. Just someone to see that, oh, they're making it through life even though they're struggling. So there's a chance for me. And that's really what it comes down to for me, is just letting the younger generation know that it's hard and it sucks and it won't always be easy, but we can still make a difference. We can still make a change in the world, even though we've been through all these horrible things. That gives us strength, that gives us wisdom, that gives us everything we need to change the world. And it's not going to happen as quickly as a lot of people can do it who have healthy bodies and what seems like unlimited energy. But our stories matter, our experiences matter. And as long as we continue to share those truths with a
Mm-hmm.
positive, there's only good that can come from it. And there will always be people that try to take that light from us, but all we can do is shine. That's all we do. Continue to shine, because that's what you're here for. Shine your light.
Now, now, Dax, what have the doctors told you the chances of the FSGS coming back on another kidney?
Yeah, the chances are about 99% that my disease would come back in another transplant, which is why I've really chosen to wait and advocate for more research and more funding so I can have an option. I've been through all the experimental treatments that you can name for my particular disease. Um, just countless over the years, and I've never been in remission. I've never reacted to treatment, and I've got a very stubborn case of FSGS. And really, what I'm
Wow.
hoping for is an artificial kidney right now, because it wouldn't be affected by the disease. It would be a lot of upkeep and maintenance, of course, but it's a lot better than dialysis. And there's just not a lot. There's so many kidney diseases as well that it's hard to funnel fund to particular ones in a meaningful fashion. Um, but the artificial kidney to me has the highest hopes of providing the largest relief for the most amount of people. And I'm really looking forward to that. I'm a huge advocate of that. And I actually went back to Washington, D.C. with AKP last year and talked with officials of Congress about that, just to share my story and what it would mean to increase funding for the community at large. So I think things are changing. I hope for the better. I know it's hard to see right now with everything that's going on in the world and all the turmoil, but all we can do is hold out hope and continue to fight our fight and speak our truths.
Hmm. Now, how have you been holding up with COVID-19 out in Utah? How is the COVID rate out there? Is it kind of leveling off?
Well, there've been quite a few spikes in this particular community where I'm at. We're seeing a lot more people not wearing masks, refusing to wear masks, which I don't want to get into all that.
Sure.
We could talk for a long time on that, but you know, it doesn't feel safe to go out really to the store, to anywhere really, because there's so many people out there that it feels like they just aren't taking the time to care about those of us who are really at high risk. Um, of course, I'm very okay staying at home, so this whole situation hasn't really affected me the way it probably has a lot of people. Because honestly, I'm okay staying at home for weeks on end and just being by myself. I've done that for a long time. That's how I'm most comfortable. So the whole pandemic hasn't been too much of a change for me, other than I feel very unsupported by the community at large because I can't go out due to people not taking the proper precautions or listening to the health officials that know what they're talking about. Um, and that's really disappointing for me, because when this first started, I really had high hopes that the people of the world who didn't understand chronic illness was would get a glimpse into how we live our lives, where you want to go out, you want to do things, but you can't. Um, and it's a little different because we can't, because our bodies say no. Whereas now people are in a situation where the government is saying no, right? So I was hoping that we'd get a little recognition,
Hmm.
compassion, empathy, that we'd come together and realize, oh man, people live like this all the time. We should do everything we can to make sure we get out of this mess. But that's my view from it. Um, Obviously, people around here don't think the same way, for the most part, which is sad and very disappointing, because the one thing people want is support from the community. They don't want to be told, that they're making things up, or that they're, blowing things out of proportion, when all you're doing is speaking your truth, your experiences, and really asking for more, asking better. And we as a community should strive to supply that to whoever needs it. We should strive to make things better for everyone. And that's, my whole mission in life is to advocate for that. And it's, really gotten rolled up into the kidney advocacy community, and the whole COVID thing is just so unfortunate how it's all played out. But oh man, it's hard to see where we go from here for all of it. But I know all we can do is chronic illness patients is continue to fight and continue to try and do our best. That's all we can do.
Mm-hmm. Now, have you tried any other modality before other than hemo? Have you tried peritoneal?
I haven't. Working on a ranch, I always thought the peritoneal catheter would be very likely to catch on something, and I always had dogs and liked to go swimming. So I never really considered PD option. I've always gone the hemo route. I've Like I kind of mentioned earlier, I was always afraid to do my own needles, but I wasn't afraid of needles per se. They didn't bother me. I could watch them once they were in everything. So needles, the deciding factor for myself in the beginning. But I've just always preferred the freedom I get from hemo.
Mm-hmm. Mm. So let me ask you, if someone was watching this broadcast right now and they just started dialysis, what advice could you give them based on your experience? I know everybody has different experience, but what could you share with them right now at this moment? Because I know, like you said, a lot of emotions uh, are kind of stirred up when you're hit with this.
Yeah, anyone, if you've just experienced this diagnosis, it's devastating news, and you have every right to feel exactly the way you do, whether that's depressed, downtrodden, whatever it may be, angry. You have every right to feel that way, and it's understandable. But don't lose yourself in those feelings, because you are so much more than the anger or the pain or the sadness. You are still you, and everything you've been through up to this point, it still matters. You're still everything that you can be. And life will be harder. I'll be the first to say it. Life will be harder because of this, but it's nothing that you can't do. And just take it one day at a time. I know it's easy to feel like you want to give up, and it's okay to scream out. It's okay to curse the world, but don't get so lost in those negative emotions that you lose yourself
Mm.
and separate yourself from what you can be, because the things you go through truly make you a warrior and make you capable of seeing the world from a perspective that not a lot will have the chance to see. And it it should make you more compassionate, more empathetic, kinder to those around. Um, but it's hard. It's hard to reach that point. It's hard to reach a point of acceptance. It's easy to want to get back to normal, and some people don't ever get back there. So if you're lucky enough to get back to normal, don't forget the people who are still stuck in that in that life. I think that's the biggest thing. It's easy to feel forgotten, and then once you're out of that situation, it's easy to forget those you left behind. Um, and I always come back to increasing community. I think it's very important that we all look out for each other, and we're all in this together, because it's not about one of us getting to the end. It's about all of us reaching the end in a way that we all feel satisfied and happy. And we deserve that. Everyone deserves that happiness, and we should all fight for it.
Wow. Now, Dax, Jared Brown, host of Warriors Quest, he asked, where's your transplant hospital located? Are you on the transplant
I'm
list?
at the I'm not right now, but I am set up through the University of Utah. All my records are there, all my doctors are there.
Okay. Wow. Um, so you just, well, let me ask you this. Do you have your native fistula or graft?
I do. I still have my very first fistula that they put in when I was 18. I've had a couple of revisions on it. It's very big. It's got a big long scar now. Um, it uh, but it's still going. I've had very few issues with it over the years. Occasionally some clots will form, but nothing major, nothing that doesn't dissipate by itself. So I'm really thankful for my access, because that I've seen a lot of patients who have uh, trouble with their access, and it's so hard. It's so hard.
Now, Dax, let me ask you this. At what point in this journey did you decide to want to come on social media and kind of motivate other kidney warriors?
Well, I over the years I felt that I'd gained a wisdom, and all my experiences I felt gave me a strength that I wanted to share with the world, but no one was taking the time to listen. No one was willing to take the time to say, will you share with me what you've learned over these years of how you deal with all this? And I wanted to bring that awareness of all that we go through to the masses, to show them, hey, you probably have someone in your life that's been through something very, very major and has gained incredible insight into life because of it. They've seen life from a different perspective, and
Mm-hmm.
that's something that should be cherished. And and I just wanted to let people know that so many people out there like myself are just waiting for someone to ask about what they've learned over the years, or how their wisdom has changed, or how their strength has affected them over the years. And um, I wanted to share that with the world, but no one was going to come ask me, so I thought, well, I'll just put it out there anyway. And if you don't want to listen to it, so be it. If you do, then it's here. Um, and as soon as I started sharing it, people really took to it, and they were sending me messages of encouragement. And I've come a long way since I started those first videos. My speaking skills are a lot better. I'm a lot more comfortable in one-on-one situations, which I wasn't very before. And it's something that I really enjoy, being able to talk about my experiences, because I know what it would have meant for me as a younger man. And how my life could have possibly been different if I'd had a different outlook, a positive outlook. If I knew that things were going to be okay despite the struggle, even if things didn't work out the way doctors said it would, even if, all the hopes and dreams that you have don't turn out to be true, you'll still be okay. You'll still find a way to be who you need to be in this world. And it's still a struggle for me. I mean, I in no way think that I have it all figured out. I'm still learning. I still struggle every day. I'm still learning how to cope with all of this. And it's constantly evolving. It's always changing. And that's the thing with chronic illness. It barely stays the same. There are always new symptoms, always something new that pops up, something that go away. But it's a constant battle, and you're never, it's not a battle you ever win. It's just a battle you can fight until the very end. And I just want to help inspire people to keep fighting until the end, because
Right.
this world just, it needs more warriors. It needs more people out there sharing their truths, because that's really what changes the world. The stories of compassion, of empathy, kindness, all those experiences, if people don't know about them, then there's nothing to change. So the more people are aware of the things we go through, I think it's only for the better.
Absolutely, man. That's well said. Yeah, we got a lot of comments. Pat says you always stay strong, Dax. I mean, we all are human. I mean, no one's perfect, and you know, I've seen some. What drew me to you was I seen a video that you was very authentic on this video. I think you shed some tears. You came back strong, but I mean, you really had a message, and that's what drew me to you. And seeing your clothing line, because again, when you hit with a disease, something like kidney disease, the furthest thing on anyone's mind is to try to start some type of business, because they want to figure out what's going on with this disease. Uh, more or less trying to come up with some type of idea to turn this disease around. And you seem, when I saw that, was like, wow. I mean, as I told you before the show, I've seen other patients in my time working make a sweatshirt, go home and do what you did for themselves or for someone else, but never to the point of making it go global.
Yeah, and that really was the whole goal, to make it global, so people understood that there was an option out there. And like I said before, I don't think there's enough active community members leading the charge, and that's because it's so hard. It's so hard to have a chronic illness and start a company and try to do all the things that require a successful company. It's very difficult. But I thought being able to just reach this point, despite everything, is an accomplishment in and of itself. Regardless of if we are a profitable company or not, the fact that I can reach this point personally and professionally I never dreamed that a dialysis patient could start a business. But I thought, hey, if I could do it, then maybe someone else can create something 10 times better, because I know I'm not the best of us. I know that. There's so many dialysis patients, chronic illness patients have so many talents just right under the surface, hidden by their illness, that can do so many great things, and they just need that belief. And I hope that just one person, if one person can start pursuing their dreams because of what they've seen me do, then it's totally worth it. That's all I wanted to do, is help one person. That's all I need.
Right. Let's show this one more time, this picture. Wait a minute. Let me move this banner. But does this come in different colors?
Yeah, it comes in this teal color, as well as a rose, which is a pink color, and then a gray.
Uh-huh. And you said if blood was happening to get on it, it'll wash right out.
It does. It washes right out. You can wash it with bleach. Hydrogen peroxide does a very good job of spot treating blood stains. But you can throw these in the wash with some bleach. They come out just fine. I've Mine have gotten tons of blood stains. They've got a few lesions on here as well from cleaning, but um, these have been through the wash hundreds of times, and they're still as silky soft as the day got them. There's a little napping on them, but nothing that you'd be uncomfortable with, or noticing. There's nothing to pick off really. It's not a cheap material. We This is kind of a upgraded fabric. It's not the typical one you'd find at Walmart, which is
Right,
why
right.
it's a little more expensive at $44. But this is very durable, and that's the thing we really want, because we don't want people having to buy these every 2 or 3 months because they use them so often. Um,
Right.
I've never replaced mine in the year and a half I've been using them. I've got 2 or 3 pairs, and I rotate them, and I've never had a zipper break. And if you have any issues with those, call me and I'll gladly take care of it. I don't want anyone to feel like they got cheated out of anything. I want to make sure that if you buy our products, that you feel comfortable in them and that you get what you need. Most often, if you get the wrong size, I'll just ask you to give that piece to someone that could use it, because we don't need to get a bunch of pieces back to sell. We'd rather just have these pieces out there in the world for patients who need them. And
Oh, that's
we realize
awesome.
not everyone, yeah, and we realize not everyone can afford our products right now, and working to get different options out there. But again, it's really
But
hard for myself
$44
to do all
is
this,
not a
especially.
it's not a lot. People spend $100 on their meals. I mean, and
Yeah,
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 that's a good investment. I mean, you got both sides, especially if you have an access in your upper arm up here. And how many people get cold when they go to dialysis? So they have on long sleeve shirts. They may have on the thermal undershirt, and then have a shirt over that thermal shirt. And then you got to pull both of them up. And then sometimes you pull it all the way up. It kind of constrict the access. And so you have to ask the patient to take his shirt off or do something like this, put it through there, and come out like that so they can have it exposed, and then they
yeah.
still cold. So, man, that was
Yep.
great idea that you did, because even though it zippings down, can it zip it back up to a little bit so you can see the access and still cover your lower arm?
Yeah, it's got dual zippers, so you can position the opening exactly where you need it, whether down here
Oh, got you. Wow.
or at the top. So you can have access to the whole arm, half the arm. It's really your choice. And one design feature I'm really proud of that we have that no one else does is this flap behind the zipper right here. And that helps protect the skin from pinching when you're zipping it up or zipping it down. Because I know for me, my fistula is very sensitive. It feels like something touches it, I notice immediately. So we want to make sure no one feels that they'd be in danger of pinching themselves, getting in a potentially life-threatening situation with a fistula breaking open or anything like that. So
Wow.
we put a lot of design and care into the products. Uh, and really, that comes from the experience that other companies simply don't have because they haven't been in that situation.
Wow. That is awesome. I mean, it's almost something like for patients by patient.
Absolutely.
Man, that's awesome. Well, I mean, we're down to the hour, like, to the final hour. Uh, Dax, before you go, what can you share with the Warriors? What do you want people to know about uh, kidney disease and anything else you think is important at this time?
Well, one of the biggest things that I always like to bring to people's attention is the amount of research funding that kidney patients don't receive. The average per patient is less than $2, which is just
Wow.
it's unheard of. Dialysis patients deserve more. Um, we deserve better options, and we certainly deserve more than $2 a year. It's disappointing when people hear that figure, but it's true. And we kind of touched on it earlier. It's hard because there are so many kidney diseases, so many different areas to this problem. But awareness is really what it comes down to. The more people are aware that there's a huge spending problem for research and funding cures for these life-threatening illnesses, that's where real change is going to happen. Because we can make macro change truly happen once we get everyone aware of the issues at hand and believing in them. And that's another part that I'm sure we could get into on another program. But we all just have to look at the truth, look at the facts, and believe the people who are in those situations that have been there for a long time, that are experienced professionals, degreed. We have to believe them and help them in their endeavors to make life better for everyone.
Wow. Well said. Well said. And yes, man, I would definitely like to bring you back on another show. In fact, I would like to hook you up with Jared A. Brown, host of Warriors Quest, for you to do a co-host with him as well. Well, I know you're not looking for a transplant at the moment, but definitely come on as a co-host to reshare your story and talk about IV.com.
Yeah, absolutely. And I visit the IHC Children's Dialysis Center, and there's a young man down there who desperately needs a transplant. So I've seen Jared's work, and I think we should really work together to get this young man a transplant because he deserves it.
Wow. All right. I'll definitely get you in contact with Jared so you can try to make that happen. That would be great to have this young lad on the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. Well, Dax, how can people reach out to you if they want to buy your product or just talk with you?
Yeah, you can find our website at ivy.com, ivye.com. You can also message me on Facebook. Just search Dax Francis. I've got a motivational speak page as well as a personal Facebook page. You can find me on Instagram at Dax Francis as well as on Twitter at Dax_Francis. Just Dax Francis everywhere. You'll find me. But reach out anywhere you feel comfortable. I always do my best to get back to people. Sometimes I forget, and I'll say right now I apologize if I ever do. But please reach out to me. I'm talking to anyone. If you have a question, comment, concern, be happy to help any way I can.
Oh, that's awesome, Dax. Awesome. But yeah, man, again, thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedule, man, to come on World Kidney News. I was definitely looking forward to this. It's been a year in the making, and I think everything happens for a reason, and I think this was the right time for you to be on.
Yeah, I really thank you, Steve. It's been great. I love talking about the kidney issues and the advocacy that we both are striving for. So thank you for all you do for the community, and thanks for having me on. It's been great.
Oh man, thank you again for taking the time, and I'm definitely going to pass. You mind if I give Jared your number?
No, that's fine.
Okay, I will do that, man. We'll definitely be in touch.
Sounds great.
All right, Dax, take care, stay safe, and talk to you soon.
Okay, thanks, Steve.
All right, man, take care. Bye bye. This was an awesome show. Dax Francis, motivational speaker and CEO of IV.com, which you saw his clothing line. I mean, you can do this. If you're a kidney warrior and you just got hit and you're trying to figure out the next chapter in your life, deal with the disease and then move forward. And that's all you can do is take it one day at a time, but at least attack it and move forward. So again, this was an awesome show. Thank you for watching. I'd like to thank everybody who commented, Lisa Baxter, Martin, Patricia, Aaron, thank you for stopping by. You know I love you. Laura Lankin, thank you for watching the show. And who else was up here? Jared, thank you, buddy. Everything you do. And that's pretty much people who commented. Oh, Jerry Kimball out of Seattle. Thank you, brother. Kathy. And that's about it. Thank you guys for watching. Tune in tomorrow night. It's going to be a great show. I'm bringing back Sunday morning transplant coffee talk for one night on a special night. Monday, 8 o'clock, we're going to have Jason Nunez out of San Antonio, Texas, with a heartfelt, amazing transplant story, and his donor. So that's tomorrow night, 8 p.m. right here on Urban Health Outreach Media, a special edition of Sunday Morning Transplant Coffee Talk on Monday night. Thank you guys for watching. God bless you. Wait a minute, I had a new comment. I'm going to put that up. Oh, that's Lisa Baxter comment. Thank you, Lisa. You had a beautiful show as well tonight. Thank you, Martin. God bless you. Y'all take care. Have a safe week and stay safe. Peace.